10 of the Hire Women podcast. I'm your host, Shelbie Vasquez, and I'm so excited to present to you our guest today, Britni Tantalo. Welcome, Britni. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelby. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Britni is owner of Flower City Dispensary and co-founder and president of New York Cannabis Retail Association, NYCRA.
Yes.
Before we get started, we'll share a brief update about our sponsor on this episode. Today's episode is brought to you by RMR Legacy Smalls, Respect My Region's cannabis flower line, available in Washington State, California, Arizona, and more to come, hopefully New York. Strains include Dedication OG, Super Mimosa, Rainbow Truffle, London Pound Cake, and Orange Sherb. So check it out. So thank you again, Britni. So I just want to hear a little bit about your background, your upbringing, what got you into cannabis, your family's stance on cannabis, and how you got involved in your journey, cannabis advocacy and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's a lot. Honestly, I've been using cannabis since I was a teenager. It's been a pivotal part of my life, I think, as medicine, even though I didn't know it. I grew up in an environment where I had experienced a lot of adversity. I did sell cannabis, I smoked cannabis, but I grew up in a community that was 95% white. It was extremely rural with, I think it was like 64 kids in my graduating class. And so the minority group was very small. And so I just experienced a lot of targeting, over policing, especially like when I could drive and older. And so I carry, cannabis charges. I kind of left that environment. I educated myself. I went to school. I worked in corporate for some years. And I met my husband in college and reconnected later. And he was a legacy operator and he had, a lot of in-depth knowledge of cannabis as well. And we decided to enter the legal market in 2014 in the ancillary space. We started with one product and had manufactured and branded indoor grow equipment and accessories. And we traveled the East Coast and we sold our product, to each store one by one, and really built that sort of small business relationship with these brick and mortar hydroponic stores that were mainly family owned. And so from that one product, we were able to expand our product line and, our reach throughout the country. So we had a lot of experiences watching legal states go online, even though we resided in New York and it hadn't gotten there yet. So we had seen, West Coast, we've seen Michigan, we've seen all these things, transpire. When New York went legal, we decided to obviously pursue it and go for a retail license, which in New York is called the CARD program, the Conditional Adult Use Retail Dispensary License. And that gave first right to those that, carried cannabis convictions, could show 2 years more of profitable business experience, and certain, requirements that I fit, as well as my husband. And also to mention, in 2021, we opened a grow store in our local community where we educate and teach our community about the plant in a different way, right? How do you cultivate it? What is the science behind it? And it's fascinating. And a lot of people, now that home cultivation is legal in New York, are really looking to have more control over their medicine. And so we provide that just in our local community here in Rochester, in upstate New York. So, in this pursuit of the card license, New York has had a very difficult rollout. I myself, I'm not currently licensed. We were hit with a lawsuit that put my particular region and 4 others on halt, my region being their first choice. So we were the last to actually open. And so I'm sitting here with a lease and a dispensary ready to go, and I'm unable to do that. So I bring a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise. Cannabis it's a part of me. So I'm not surprised that I ended up here. The advocacy part, I can't say I'm surprised. That was never mine or my husband Jason's initial pursuit in any of this. You know, again, I'm just a small town girl from Rochester, New York area, and I wanted to bring this plant to my community the right way, what it's intended to do, and that's for reinvestment into my community, which has extremely high poverty and homicide rates, and our city school system, you know, is very weak where this type of money could transform it. And I'm somebody and my husband that take that seriously. So I see cannabis as economic opportunity to create jobs, to create generational wealth, to do so much in a time that's very volatile and high inflationary. It gives people a lot of hope. So, I mean, it's just unfolded in front of me in so many different ways, Shelby. I couldn't have anticipated it.
Dang, yeah, you guys are OGs and just following the passion and allowing people to learn how to grow at home. It's amazing. And just building all these relationships in your community. That's crazy. As the CEO of New York Cannabis Retail Association, also known as NYCRA, and owner of Flower City Dispensary, what are your current initiatives and goals for promoting the cannabis industry in New York?
In terms of NYCRA, our main focus really is what we're doing strategically in Albany. I think now that we have dispensaries, you know, starting somewhat to come online, I think we have 50 legal now. We really need to look at things like codifying card and putting the card program into statute. These lawsuits have absolutely impacted, you know, the environment that we're in, the rollout, all of those things. So we need to protect cards so we don't cause any more harm and move forward. We have to look at things like tax structure and the potency tax and excise tax, and how does that affect the supply chain, and how does that affect, you know, legal versus the illicit market, because we have a lot of illicit shops in New York that we're combating. And then look at things like the marketing regulations that retail faces that were written in the previous administration here that place, I mean, in my opinion, extreme restrictions on how to market, advertise, I mean, signage, anything you can think of, again, while competing against an illicit market that can do all of those things openly and willingly. And that's really what our focus is, and then some, is making those changes that are going to directly impact these businesses, and that will have a ripple effect throughout the supply chain. If we can get dispensaries operational and open and, you know, running effectively, then we can sell the wonderful products that these farmers have worked so hard, and the investment that these processors have made in the New York market. I believe we'll be able to achieve that. A lot of us, if not all of us, have that tenacity and caliber to deliver it.
Thank you. So can you keep going? Like, what challenges and opportunities have you encountered as a minority woman dispensary owner in the New York market?
You know, it's funny that you asked that, because I'm not a dispensary owner yet, and that's the sad part, right? You know, I'm card, and I did not get licensed in the previous rounds, and I've had to pivot. I've had to pivot into social equity, and really not feeling, you know, prioritized in that fashion based off of regulations has been disheartening, not just for me, but many other women and minorities in the space. So, you know, the challenge is real. You know, we face that a lot just in life and in other industries, and it's no different in cannabis. There are women and minorities that are doing amazing things across every facet, from ancillary to invested stakeholder. And it's really just truly making it accessible. And I think that that's what NYCRA does. I think we take things like banking or insurance or security or websites and things that really payroll that impact a small business or mid-sized company operationally and financially, and making that accessible, making it where you can understand it, and you're building relationships with good people. We've really tried to go beyond this DASNY program and getting turnkey dispensaries and preferential tax rates, because the reality is it's not there. It was something that I thought would be there that's not. But if you know business, and most of us do, we will find a way to achieve that, even if it wasn't a part of our original plan, right? You have to know how to pivot. And that's what we've done. And that's what you've seen. And it's amazing.
Man, what has been the most rewarding aspect of your involvement in the cannabis industry so far?
I would have to say it's really been the people. I can't say it's been, getting a dispensary and opening my doors and achieving that for me and my family. Where I stand today, it's been like so rewarding to not only meet all these people throughout the supply chain, these farmers that put the seeds in the ground, and I see what they grow, to the processors who convert it into gummies and all these amazing things, and to these retailers that I've seen open their doors and kind of how they've approached entering the market. That is invaluable, right? This is history, and getting to watch that and see it in real time and the people that are behind it. I mean, that has been the most rewarding thing. And just, it's fascinating. I think people will be surprised how much New York cannabis products have evolved. I know that we get scrutinized for some grown and all that, but again, we are innovative. We have the caliber to pivot. I mean, we have amazing carts. We have shatter infused pre rolls. I mean, it delivers. It delivers. So it's been great getting to know the people and then watching the stages as it's been evolving.
And how do you see the future of it? What do you see on the horizon for New York?
You know, I see like both sides, right? I see the promise of it. I see the people that can deliver on that. And then I also see the facts of the environment that we're in. I think that it can be everything that we all know and want it to be, and why we're pursuing it. But I think that we need to take people that have the industry knowledge, and now that we are someone in motion, looking at this data and seeing how do we make it more efficient. We need to find solutions, right? That we're done with blaming and finding out. I think everybody can consistently agree that it's volatile, but I think throughout the whole supply chain, you have such amazing people that have the capability to figure it out. So I'm very hopeful. I believe that New York will be the largest cannabis economy. I think when we get past this and we're able to continue to build the infrastructure and unify with sort of a collaboration over competition mindset, which is really what NYCRA focuses on, we'll get there. We'll get there.
What do you believe are the key factors that will shape the future of cannabis retail in New York?
I think if you're talking about today, some of the key factors, like number one, would be enforcement, right? Like we really need to look at a way to control the illicit market versus legal market so that we can be sustainable and all these things can be achieved, and these tax dollars can go to where they were supposed to go, and that's back into the communities that we live in. And so that is going to be a key factor on how the future is shaped, because if we can't control that, these dispensaries won't last, right? Including myself, I won't last. I think we need to look at ways that we can help these dispensaries, farmers, and processors that have endured a lot of financial harm due to this rollout, ways to help provide funding, whether it's through a public fund, just ways to help operationally so we can be sustainable long term due to the environment that we're in. So I think a lot of things are gonna play a factor, and a lot of that change is gonna have to happen in Albany.
Can you please share some recent accomplishments or milestones achieved by NYCRA? I know you were talking to me about the cool portal that you guys have, and I just want to hear about all the amazing things that NYCRA offers.
Yeah, we actually were originally the New York Card Coalition. And we started as that because that's all there was, right? It was only card in New York. And we really formed out of an innate need for survival. And we began sharing resources and becoming more transparent and seeing how we were going to navigate this space. And, this has grown and grown and grown to where now we're providing accessibility to resources, right? With strategic partnerships with LeafLink and Seabolt Security or insurance companies, to help people plan and prepare and, have the educational piece and one-on-one with these companies to really get set up and get running. And so for, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was you were saying?
Yeah, just talk about the journey of how, the CARD Coalition rebranded into NYCRA and then all the amazing things that NYCRA offers.
Yes. Because of that, we actually rebranded into the New York Cannabis Retail Association so we can expand that reach, right? Now we're not just CARD, we're social equity, there's general licensing, there's micro businesses, which leads me to our access portal. One of the major problems that we were facing is that we did not have communication with one another. So we originally started on a WhatsApp under the New York CARD Coalition. We transitioned and are now on a Discord platform, or we call an access portal, that links the whole supply chain. So cultivator to processor to retail, as well as ancillary, plus subsets such as banking and security and insurance and payroll and things of that nature. So it can give those invested stakeholders in New York cannabis instant access to one another, to market your brand, to build a relationship, whatever it may be. Because of that division through the supply chain, it's almost like we have to catch up. And the best part is that it's free. It's not something that you have to pay to be a part of. It's something that exists because you've invested in this industry and it's needed to survive. And it's been amazing. And, I encourage anybody who doesn't know to come and join us and join the conversation, because we're all basically living the same life, trying to navigate it together.
I just thought that's so dope when you told me about that. I'm like, that is so smart. Like, I think everybody should have that, or that is just so crazy. And it's cool, like, just to have that online community, this portal that you can access and discuss whatever you need. I know I've seen California have like a Facebook group too that I'm into, and people ask each other questions if they're retail owners or farmers. So I think that's definitely a need, and I think that's awesome.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
We had experienced a lot of predatory actions too as CARD, where, people were like just jumping on us, offering us crazy prices. And banking was at like, some people were $1,800 a month. And it's like, you have to have banking, but who can afford that when you're a small operator and that's just your banking? So, we had partnered and struck a deal with Credit Union One, which gave banking for free for the first 2 years, no fees. And then after that, it was under $300 a month. So that did a couple of things, right? It made it accessible, but it also let other banks in New York know, like, if you want to bank here, you have to, drop your rates, because Credit Union One, is available. And it's really just, protecting our community as well, to have this portal and kind of vetting, people that are just trying to come in and harm us in New York.
That's huge too, to have a partnership with a bank.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Okay. What advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to enter the cannabis industry in New York?
I think the biggest thing is that, like, cannabis in New York is not easy. I mean, really, business is not easy. And you cannot come into this space, or I would recommend any business venture, without knowing and have done your research on what the regulations are, making business relationships so you can find out what's the climate been, what are people experiencing, becoming a part of organizations like NYCRA, where you get firsthand direct access to that, before you spend a dollar, right? Because when most of us had started in the beginning, there was nothing ahead of us, right? So now that we're opening in time, we're a year or so later, you can look at that if you're trying to come in. And, there's wonderful events throughout, the region. I know CWBE Expo is coming in early June. I recommend people to know and go, and I will be there, and everyone else in industry. I know MJ Unpacks coming to Atlantic City, which is very close to New York. I recommend everybody to go check that out. Some of the best relationships that have helped me in New York Cannabis have come from attending those events and being out there and asking questions and listening to industry leaders who are already in the space. But you have to be ready. You have to have the tenacity. It is very volatile in this moment. It doesn't always, it's not always the best to be first, I guess, right? Be thankful that you have the opportunity to learn and look at others that have come before. But it's really engaging in the community and educating yourself from a regulatory standpoint, because those are the things that are going to impact your business the most.
Thank you. I just want to ask, like, do you have any favorite campaigns that you guys have done over the years?
When you what do you mean, like campaigns?
Your organization? Yeah, or sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to this past month, we were in Brooklyn and we did an event that really showcased where we are at today in New York legal. We had over 50 top brands. We had retailers, we had ancillary, we had people from community that just really gave a lot of transactional value to show that the legal market is there, it is ready. We just have to break through some of the red tape that still exists. And I don't think that we in New York often get a time to do that, right? To showcase and show in a setting for the whole community to see. And it was a wonderful turnout, and it let people know who NYCRA is. And I only hope to share that because I feel like we have a lot to offer from an educational standpoint. But there's just something about community, right? There's just something about being a part of something bigger. And cannabis is so new, and building this infrastructure is so critical. And because all of us, this is our time, and this is, time for us to have these businesses, we have a responsibility, right? We have a responsibility to society, to our children, and to people, to leave a good legacy and make sure that we do justice and bring cannabis to the forefront the right way, because we're breaking stigmas and a lot of bad things that came along with cannabis. I mean, it brought a lot of harm for many years due to, it being illegal. It still is federally illegal. People are still in jail for it. So at least in New York, coming together as a community and, almost just lining our ideologies and really caring about what it's going to be here.
What are some of your favorite brands and products in the market?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny you say that. That's why I forgot the question, because I was smoking before. I smoke every day, but one of the things that's my favorite that I'm smoking on now is this is Aero Brands. It's actually manufactured here in Rochester. So I have to give it a shout out because I'm from Rochester. But being a mom and working and doing both things, I love it because it's so easy. These carts pop in. There's limited smell. The battery lasts forever. The flavors are great. They have 12 flavors, and they come in these little, things, and I can just discreetly put it away. So that's one of my favorites. Honest Farms. They're huge, great with their flour. They just dropped Jam Master J's. They're located here close by, 40 minutes out in Newark. We have No Wave Processing Facility. They do their off hours gummies and hash holes, and they're right here in my city. And I'm proud to say that we have all these great people investing in cannabis. We have House of Saatchi in Buffalo. He definitely brings really great smoke. So yeah, I mean, a lot of great brands. I mean, I could name a million. I could name a million.
Thank you so much. So yeah, you were just saying that you're a mother. How do you balance everything that you do with, your family life? Can you just share like a normal day, a typical day?
Yeah, I mean, my day starts early. I have my daughter, she's turning 6 this month. She's in kindergarten. So I'm up like 6 o'clock in the morning, getting everything around, getting her off to school on the bus. And then it's like meetings start, and there's days where I try to do classes with my son. So I'm present and we'll go do like an art or play class for an hour. And, then I'll jump right back at it. Or one day I'll be in Albany. And I mean, it's really kind of crazy. I get it done somehow, but I really, really try to make sure that I'm present in my kid's life first, as much as I'm going through this with cannabis and I have the responsibilities. They're only young for so long, and I'm just trying not to miss it. It's hard. It's hard, especially if you're in cannabis, not to miss it.
And then just what makes your team special? The people that you work with.
Yeah, so many things make them special. I mean, they're like family. They are like me. They are what New York is made of, right? Small businesses, small family businesses. And a lot of them come from the same culture as me, right? Most of us come from lower income families that didn't have accessibility to resources. Whether or not you have cannabis convictions doesn't mean that you did not move past that in life and educate yourself, or live better and have a business. And, so a lot of us share a deeper bond just based off of the time and environment and the way we grew up. And, a lot of their capabilities, whether they went into IT, whether they had a background in HR, and or they were a photographer, and now we're all in cannabis. It's actually a very big strength that we carry, is that many of us have all these different expertise that we've utilized to make NYCRA what it is. And so, yeah, I mean, everyone, I can't say enough. I'm just really lucky to be surrounded by the people that I work with, the members of NYCRA. We heavily, heavily have built a community that I think is just rare, and we're so transparent with each other, and we really just want to see each other succeed and this industry to get off the ground. I don't know if you'll maybe ever see it again, or see it happen so great. And I think it's really because we needed to survive. And when you have nothing, that's what you do. You lean on your community.
What did you want to be when you were growing up? Like what you're in cannabis now, but what was it before that?
I was actually a accountant. I worked in accounting. That was never my dream, though. It's funny, when you're little and they're like, "What do you want to be?" I never really knew. Um, I just kind of pursued as I went. I was always somebody that was really strong, I guess, more of a numbers person than an artsy person. So I really enjoyed that, and it came easy. And but you go into corporate and you face the same constraints, right? Like that glass ceiling, that I wasn't going to be groomed the same way as maybe some of the other associates that were men, and there wasn't the same accessibility to certain things, or I wasn't going to be chosen, or how raises went, or how things went. And I struggled with that a lot, and it's still alive today in business. So that was a big part of why I wanted to kind of leave and pursue something else. I felt I was capable or had enough experience to have my own business. I just never thought I'd be facing very similar things in cannabis so soon. But we're in it, and there's a lot of women out there that are doing great things. Shout out to Dagmar in Soho. If you haven't seen her, go see her. We have Zamia Bad Gas. We have Dope Connection, Jess Nassan. She's going to be doing delivery soon. Emerald Dispensary, Christina, she's about to open. I know my girl Elise, she's Life Charm. She's about to open. So we're out there, but definitely not enough. Definitely want to make sure that you are shopping legal and check out the women dispensaries that are going to come online.
Hell yeah. And then you mentioned just some of the regulations. Like, I want to know about the New York regulations. When you said like what are the stipulations on packaging and certain things that you see that you think should be different?
Yeah, it's tough because like I can see both sides, right? Because I'm a mom. So some of the restrictions on packaging make sense to me. Like you don't want cookies and Skittles and things to be confusing because children eat candy, right? That's a very logical thing. But I mean, I'm looking at even signage for a dispensary, right? You can only have two signs. I mean, if you can only have two signs and you have the sign on the front, you have a sign on a window, that's it. You can't have a sandwich board or you can't have a sign on this side. That's all you get, right? Um, I think that when it comes to how you can advertise, right, handing out a flyer, um, things of that nature, we should be able to do that. I know Dagmar had a beautiful silhouette of a bird kind of on the front of her dispensary. You have to check it out because it's beautiful and it's definitely very eclectic and worth going to see. But she had to remove that silhouette because it could imply like children. I think that's a stretch when I see illicit shops that have Sonic the Hedgehog and rainbow signs down the street. So things like that, right? I think that we just have to fine tune um, behind like what is really okay and what is taking it too far and now it's hindering us against an illicit market that we're combating.
And then you mentioned that home grow is legal. How many plants is legal to grow in a house?
I'm sorry, you broke up. Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. How many plants can you grow legally as a home grower?
Okay, I finally got you back. One more time. I'm so
sorry, my mic. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How many plants can you grow as a home grower?
I think you can grow up to
Because I think in
12%.
California we can do 6.
Yeah, but it depends, right? Because if you have a caregiver, your caregiver can grow, and then I think it depends. Like, it doesn't depend like for one person. I believe it might be 6 plants. Actually, I think it might be the same.
So we sound a bit similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you can grow yourself your own medicine, like you can have a caregiver that can grow medicine. So then it could be 12 plants. That's what I was trying to say instead of just 6. So yeah, I don't know how it is in California. Is it similar?
I think it is similar. Yeah. Different if you have the caregiver license.
Yeah.
So are you close to the council people in New York? And like what are they open to cannabis?
Yeah, I will say that we are lucky that our legislators, our Senate and our Assembly, and Governor Hochul have done a great job, listening to what has been going on in New York. I applaud the governor for not being happy with this rollout, wanting more dispensaries to come online, you know, recognizing we have an illicit market problem that needs to get under control, as well as, really looking at that potency tax and putting it in the right direction. So I think we definitely have their ear. We have wonderful senators. We have, Senator Jeremy Cooney, Senator Kruger. We have the majority leader, Ms. Crystal People-Stokes, who's, really the godmother of this MRTA, who have their ears open and care and have been very, cooperative in listening to us. So that's why I feel that New York cannabis is heading in the right direction and it is promising. I think we just have to figure it out.
What do you hope to achieve professionally and personally in this year?
Professionally, I hope to get licensed and have a dispensary, um, and be able to provide, legal, safe cannabis to my community. I mean, that has always been my initial pursuit, and I still hope to achieve that. sooner than later. I also hope to see and be a part of continuing to shape the infrastructure here and working with our legislators on what cannabis is going to look like going forward. I think now that we have a voice as a community, we should hang on to that. And I think that that's how we're going to get it right. So, I hope to achieve a lot of things like codifying card and getting us protected into statute, really looking at tax implications, really looking at a public fund, really changing marketing regulations. So many things, are really at the forefront for us. Personally, I mean, have more time with my family. I think that's one thing I miss the most. And I think a lot of us can say is this has consumed so much of our life that we've missed a lot or, again, can't be present. So I hope to achieve more time with my family. We don't get paid a salary to do this, right? This is something that, we're doing for free and for our initial pursuit of a dispensary or a farm or a processing facility. So all of us are all in. So this is not a kind of life that we signed up for. So hopefully more time with my family.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a passion, and there's no days off, and we're constantly working in this industry because we're working for a cause. It's still not federally legal. It's just still something that's state by state. So I just applaud everything that you're doing. As a leader in the cannabis industry, what message do you want to convey? Like, I think yesterday you said, like, what message are we allowing cannabis to be to the public? So what message would you like to convey as a leader?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I couldn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
No problem. As a leader,
my connection or
I know it could be mine. What message would you like to convey to our listeners as a leader in the cannabis industry? What message do you think cannabis should leave a mark on the public? Or like, is there anything else that you want to say to our listeners?
I think I'm hearing bits and pieces. Are you asking me like what message would I want to convey? I have you back. I see you. What message I would want to convey?
Yeah.
The leader in the space. I heard bits and pieces, so I was trying to piece it all together. You want to say it now that I have you back?
Yep. What message would you like to convey to the listeners as being a leader in the cannabis industry?
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm sorry. I guess it's just, if you're going to be in cannabis, get ready to work hard. Your network is your net worth. Show up for your community. This is not a green rush, right? This isn't something that you're just going to come into and you're going to be an instant millionaire. Just like any other business that you would pursue in any other industry, there's risks. And you should expect to see risks in cannabis since it's never been legal before. So you're better off doing your due diligence, knowing who's good people to work with, join organizations such as NYCRA, attend events and expos out there so you can meet people, gather information before really jumping in. I think we're going to see it evolve into many, many things over the next few years, but to just really be prepared and don't think that it's going to be easy. The application fee is just that. So there's a lot of financial burden that you're going to have your time, and really nothing to base it off of. The economy currently is extremely volatile. So the more you can be prepared, the better.
Thank you. And now I just want to move into a little bit of more fun questions. What are you, an indica sativa hybrid gal? Which is your favorite?
Sativa. Because I'm a mom and I'm so busy, I have to have the energy to keep moving. That's why the carts are so great, because if I have a minute to run to the grocery store and I don't have a kid, I can potentially consume and, not have to smoke my car out or something like that. So yeah, definitely sativa.
Do you get munchies? And what are your favorite munchies? Like, what's your favorite? What are all the things that you need for a perfect sesh?
So yeah, definitely get the munchies. I love like Sour Patch Kids, and Ben and Jerry's fish food ice cream is my favorite. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's so
Oh,
good.
I used to work at Ben and Jerry's for 3 years.
Oh, I could not work there. I would like it's so good. And you can only get it in the court. So it's like that's a really good one. But definitely like Skittles, like Sour Patch Kids, Nerds. I'm like Smarties. Definitely a candy person.
And then what's your method of consumption? Are you joints, bong, pipe? Yeah, I see you got your vape pens, but what else are your favorite things?
It's crazy because I feel like I'm 37. So like my generation, it was like, let's go smoke a blunt, right? So everybody was rolling a joint, smoking a blunt. But it's like as you get older, it's like the damage on your lungs, right? It's like you feel like the smoke and it's harmful. So I've actually started to do gummies and try gummies as an alternative way instead of just smoking. I prefer to smoke. That's just how I've always smoked, but to try not to do too much damage, or I could have a drink, right? An heirloom drink. They have really great, what's it called? It's an apple, um, a honey crisp apple drink that's really good. So check them out. But you can just, you can drink and stuff now. When we were younger, those things didn't exist that way. And if you took a gummy, somebody made it and it was like a bad experience. So you just didn't do it. Now, when you look at companies like No Wave and many other processors, there's like nanotechnologies that are there, right? They can make them hit you faster. The flavors are better. Being legal and we're allowed to do so much more with innovation and things like that. So I've kind of expanded into other areas recently.
What's your favorite kind of music? Do you have any favorite artists?
Yeah, I like so many genres. It's crazy, but I come from a hip hop generation, you know what I mean? So like old school, I like a lot of like the new Nicki, like I'm a big Nicki Minaj fan. But I mean, I don't honestly, I really tend not to listen to music a lot because I have the kids in the car and it's like ABCs or like the Bluey theme song or something like that. You lose the cool when you're in the car, you have the kids. But yeah, I'm definitely more of like a hip hop, old school, even some of the new, just because I'm from that generation.
In New York, I'm familiar that there's Hot 97.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay, yeah. So there's another podcast with the girl Laura from Hot 97, and then she had a podcast. Are you familiar with Leah McSweeney?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay, she's on Real Housewives of New York, but she's a New York girl too, so they both have a podcast. I'm a fan of theirs, and I would just listen to that because it's kind of just like my ear to New York girls and like the stuff, how they are, and yeah, so I think it's awesome, and I think it's dope to talk to you. You kind of remind me of her as
You know,
well.
now it real is in New York, Leanne. Now I know who you're talking. I didn't know her. I don't know her last name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers and her brand. I think she's really cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. They will give you a lot of insight into New York for sure.
And I love like graffiti artists from there and like that kind of whole scene as well for some reason.
Yeah. When we did our event at the Raw Chocolate Factory in Brooklyn, when you drive through there, you see all that beautiful graffiti artwork. I mean, you could just drive through it and look at it for days. It's done so nice. I mean, so many different styles, even some were portraits. It's just beautiful.
What are some other hidden gems of either Rochester, just like New York, or things that I need to know about? I've never been.
It's really, you've never come, you have to come. I mean, obviously, there's a lot in New York City. I mean, I'm still learning because I'm not from there. I'm lucky to have such great friends there now that can show me everything and they live there. But I can speak to upstate. And what's really great about here is we have beautiful parks and we have a lot of nature and hiking. We have a lot of great wineries. So we get a lot of tourism for that, which are fun. And then we have the Great Lakes. So a lot of boating and some beach. Even though it gets cold here, like you do get to experience and more connection with nature, but still have somewhat urban, not too populated. So I always encourage people to come out and look at Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, and these areas because we're like these little hidden gems and we all offer something different that's worth coming to see.
What are your favorite restaurants in Rochester?
Oh, that's another good thing is we have a lot of like artisan restaurants, right? So a lot of small businesses that do like craft food. Um, One of my favorites, honestly, and you have to like know about it to know that it's there, is this little Korean restaurant called Young's Korean. And I'm half Korean. So she is the most authentic Korean. And it's just a small place, but the food is so good, such good quality, so fresh. It's like hand makes every little dumpling or something, you know? But it's wonderful. And I'd have to say that's probably like our go-to spot as a family is a night at Young's Korean restaurant.
Cool. Um, okay, what else? So you said that there is a meeting next week. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, February 15th, which is also my son's birthday. So maybe that's like a good sign from the universe. But they will be announcing more licensures. I am excited, not just me, but many deserving people. Many people are waiting that are in the same situation as me that are holding leases and have been, and really none of us can afford to. I know many people that have lost their space and now have had to pivot and just do delivery because that time is, long gone and people have moved on to other things. So hopefully, you know, we don't know how many, but hopefully a lot of people can get pushed forward.
And then, okay, let's say like you get your license. What dreams do you have for Flower City? Like what's the dream of Flower City? What are you gonna, have for the public? And what are all the exciting things that you have up your sleeve for that?
Yeah, I think that what's going to make each dispensary, what they are is who we are, right? Like you're going to go into each of these and you're going to see all these different personalities and what they represent. And at least for me, I would like to represent, a woman minority business owner that knows cannabis and can prove that, right? I've been in this space. I want the opportunity for people to come in, learn from me, talk to me personally, talk to my husband personally, see the knowledge that we can bring in this industry with these products and hopefully expand, right? Expand into more dispensaries and be able to make that accessible. What our blueprint looks like. There's so many wonderful dispensaries throughout the state that people should go experience because we're all going to bring something different. But I definitely think with Flower City Dispensary, you're going to get such an in-depth knowledge and experience just because of not only from legacy, but to our knowledge in ancillary and in the cannabis space and what we've seen throughout the country. And it's nice to bring it to an area like Rochester that isn't, this big area, but can offer so much and so much growth can be done here from it. So that's my hope. That's my hope is to be able to share my knowledge and expertise and then continue to share that with more dispensaries, hopefully throughout the state.
How long have you and your husband been together and married?
Oh my God, we've known each other for quite some time. I think we're getting close to knowing each other for almost 15 years. And then we've been married for 6 or 7 years, I believe now. Oh my God. I like cannabis does that to you. I'm still writing 2023, um, because you just don't know where you're at. But we've been together for a very long time. And I feel really lucky to be doing this with my husband, who's my best friend, He brings such a diverse background in cannabis. It's been a big part of his life in so many ways. And I think that's why we are who we are, is who we are together. So hopefully we can show that when we open Flower City Dispensary someday soon.
Did you guys have cannabis at your wedding? Like, was that incorporated at all into it?
No, people definitely smoked. Um, but it just wasn't, it wasn't incorporated. It was a different time.
What have been just some favorite parts of your whole journey? Having the shop, having the wholesale, doing this fight. Like, I don't know, are there any fun moments that you can remember and share?
Yeah, some of the best times were actually in the very beginning when Jason and I had started Meta Vega, like before we had kids, because we took his car and we took our product and we just drove up the East Coast and we were selling our products. But it was like we got to spend that time, right? Like in the car, having these business meetings. And, I just really enjoyed that. That was probably some of the best times of this whole journey was, the initial pursuit of what it was going to be. And like, I don't know, that I look back at that and it's like now the climate that we're in, it's like it's so much harder. Like I thought that was hard, that was easy. And then we got to be together, right? We got to be together and build this. And now it's, you're older, you add in kids, you add in different aspects and it's much harder. So I really value that time that we shared.
Is there anything else that you want to share or shine a light on of what you're going through or anything else about New York that I have not asked?
No, just that, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what NYCRA is doing. Again, I encourage everybody and anybody to check us out. You can go to New York, spelled out, Cannabis Retail Association.org. You can become a member there or definitely go to Instagram, which is at NY Cannabis Retail Association, and follow us, reach out. We'd love to be a support if we can. We have an amazing network of people from all over. So join us and, just thank you for putting women in the front and letting me talk a little bit about myself and other women in the space. So thank you, Shelbie.
Thank you very much, Britni. We appreciate you, everything that you're doing. Good luck with everything. We are rooting for you. You really deserve it. You've done so much for your community, and I'm rooting for you. It's truly a pleasure. We look forward to having you back and maybe your husband too. So thank you. That is our conversation today. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Hire Women podcast. I'm Shelbie, and this is Britni Tantalo. Please make sure to leave us a review in the comments, like, follow, and subscribe on our Instagram and YouTube. And don't forget to ask for RMR Legacy Smalls, RMR Respect My Region Weed at your local dispensaries and delivery services. Have a lovely day.